Hello, this is Daniel Raphael presenting Social Sustainability Lesson Number 4. Topics today will include the Continuum of Social Sustainability, and the second topic will be Earth's Dilemma. Chapter 19, the Continuum of Social Sustainability. What do we mean when we talk about this Continuum of Social Sustainability? It is the flow and existence of a person's life that begins even before conception and continues on through their life until death. This is the parent, these are the parents, this is their influence, and this is death. Okay? This is conception, birth, year 1, 2, 20, 30, 40, so on. I prefer to use developmental eras to describe the continuum rather than years. Years are arbitrary. If we had a counting system that had only 5 numbers in it, then it would be different. So I use these developmental eras to describe the growth of individuals through their life until death. And what we want to do in the continuum, concerning social sustainability, is to begin to become aware of all the influences that will build and form the individual to who they will become. Okay? We begin before conception because the parents have a tremendous effect on who the person becomes. Before conception, if the mother and father have genetic defects in their cells, then the child will probably express some of those defects, and they will create a dependency upon society, and they will also not be able to make a meaningful contribution to their society, to their own life, to their society, their family, and their community. So it's important that the parents understand their own genetic flaws that they may have. They may decide to have children anyhow, even if they do have flaws. That's a personal decision. But in a socially sustainable society, that becomes a drag on the rest of society. And that's a moral question that needs to be resolved in our society that has not been addressed yet. But in a socially sustainable society, there is a morality for a socially sustainable civilization that exists, and it's a book that I'm currently working on. Okay? So what we want to do is this is preconception, conception, this is pregnancy, and birth, and then the person is independent. They've shown in studies that with children that the environment of the mother, socially, emotionally, physically, stress-wise, has a tremendous effect upon the development of personality of the child. And of course, most parents want to have the best possible child that they can have into the future. And so they bring this child into existence deliberately. Okay. So until age 20, let's say this is 20, okay, this is the developmental era. Scientists have also shown that the brain of children continues to grow into their 20s until about 26, 27. Okay? And age 25, I call this the age of separation. Okay? And this is where they leave their family and start out on their own. They're single, they have career years, they may want to engage in a couple relationship, and then start a family of procreation, and eventually they'll have a career. And eventually their own children will leave home. They'll be in their retirement years, their pre-elder years, and elder years, and then death. Okay? Now, why am I telling you about this continuum? It's because what we want to do is to build a knowledge map about this whole continuum, about a detailed knowledge map about the preconception era, pregnancy, first 2 weeks. First 2 weeks are primary for the development of trust. Dependency on your environment to satisfy your needs. Trust is fundamental to developing love, Now, how do you develop trust? Feeling safe. Even the youngest infant knows the difference between safe and unsafe, being threatened or satisfied. And so the development in the first 2 weeks is primary to the development of trust by feeling safe. And trust is fundamental, so is safety, to the development of love and all the positive virtues and attributes of a human personality in social relationship to themselves and to other people. So we want to develop a knowledge map. Okay? Very important. I first became acquainted with knowledge maps from a TED video that was made by Sal Khan. Sal Khan is the founder of the Khan Academy. And I saw his video at his site, www.khan, K-H-A-N, academy.com. And you click on that, go to that site, click on the video down below, and you'll see Sal Khan presenting and talking about knowledge maps and how this is fundamental to organize knowledge and how to thoroughly understand your own accomplishments intellectually in a certain particular area of endeavor which you might be interested in. Okay? So we want to use this knowledge map to grow, to build, to develop sustainable individuals. We want to have sustainable families that use sustainable family practices to help develop this individual. We want that family to develop the quality of life for the individual, to assist the individual to grow, and to grow as well as others grow, not to be limited, that they have the same values as others. In the scheme of social sustainability, we have quality of life, growth, and equality. Equality in this context means you're as valuable as I am to society, that we each have a meaningful contribution that we can make to society. And when we are developed in our skills and our capacities, then we have more value. We have more value to our society. We become a contribution. We become a living social asset to our own life, to our family, and to our community and society. Okay? It's the importance of society to develop this. And it begins, where does it begin? It begins with the co-creative couple. That's the best place I could start with. It's a chicken or egg situation, and I think this is the best place to start. Let's examine the 3 main spheres of influence on the development of a socially sustainable individual. Okay? What does this map look like? Chapter 20, Sustainable Social Symbiosis. In the whole of the continuum that I showed you, what are the major influences that affect the ability of the individual to contribute to the social sustainability of themselves, their family, and society? And this question applies to each individual era, okay? But we find truly that there are only 3 major influences on the person in that continuum. And the first one, they learn what it is to be an individual. And they learn what it is to be an individual in the family. They learn 9 roles. They learn what it is to be a mother, a wife, and a woman, a father, husband, and man, or child, sibling, and boy or girl. These are essential for the integration of the individual's personality because we are reflections of our society. We become whole as social beings when we're in relationship with other people. We're always in relationship with ourselves, and these roles help us integrate the integrity of our whole self. The second circle is the family. Right? We exercise these roles in the family situation. We learn how a family works or doesn't work, whether it's functional or dysfunctional. The children learn this. And so it is essential that children know how to operate in the dynamic of the family situation. And they will be observing all 9 roles when they're children. The third circle of influence is society. The social. Meaning any organization over the quantity of one individual. It could be a company of a sole proprietorship. This is a social entity. It could be a corporation. It could be a foundation. It could be a church, school, daycare, social clubs and associations, employment, recreation. It could be everybody at the gym. Okay? Now, what about this? Here's where we end up in the fourth circle of tying it all together. In a socially sustainable society, there is the fourth circle of symbiosis. Right? This is an interdependent relationship between these three entities, that they are mutually supportive. The individual supports the family supports the individual supports society and social groups, and vice versa, and the family supports the society, and here it's all interrelated, okay? So that it goes this way, and it goes this way, okay? It all works together, that they're all interrelated. And this is in a socially sustainable society, these are interrelated. These are whole, these are integral. Chapter 21, Earth's Dilemma. We're going to totally change gears. We're going to look at the macro situation of Earth and our situation now. And Earth has a dilemma. Okay? 1. Earth's civilization developed without a sustainable plan for itself, without a plan for sustaining itself. No sustainable global plan. Okay? It just came into existence. It's just developed. It became what we see now. 2, there are numerous global civilization threatening problems that have developed that endanger our civilization's continued existence. Consider food and water shortages, limited arable land, overpopulation, natural resource limitations, economic instability, and militarism and political instability, to name only a few. Global problems. Civilization. 3. Futurists, scientists, historians agree that Earth's civilization as it exists and as it grows larger is unsustainable. Got that? And it appears that its decline is inevitable. And further, that decline appears to be imminent, meaning soon. Unsustainable global situation. So what? What about this? 4, these problems are so complex, so pervasive, and so huge in scope as to be insolvable by any one government or nation or combination of nations. Now, that's plenty to think about in itself, but consider this. Even if those problems were identified and the solutions were obvious. No organized solutions. 5. Let me read that again. These problems are so complex, so pervasive, and so huge in scope as to be insolvable by any one government or nation or combination of nations, even if those problems were identified and the solutions were obvious. And why? Why are they insolvable? Because the political position-taking, power, authority, control conflicts, resource acquisition and allocation conflicts between political parties, nations, and large corporations, and political public melees will prevent any timely action to alleviate these problems. Okay? So there's counterproductive influences. forces. What is the solution? Is there a solution? And that's the tough part about it, is that these answers that will help solve this will come about through all of this discussion that I've provided to you in lessons 1, 2, 3, and this one. That it is from a design team, local design teams, from the ground up, bottom up type of influence, social action that will be developed to overcome, or not to overcome, but to develop socially sustainable designs for local communities and for the global civilization. You've seen that top-down solutions are not happening. The fiscal cliff, the impasse in Congress, and so on, makes these problems totally insolvable. They're off the map. They're off the chart. They are insolvable by any national government, and we live in perhaps the most politically powerful, militarily powerful, and economically powerful nation in the world. And we are not going to solve these problems. So what's going to happen is that there will be a decline in our civilization, there will be a loss of life and difficulties, and that there will be what? Recovery. How do you recover? You must have a plan. You must have a system, yes, a system that feeds itself for growth, a self-generative process from the grassroots, bottom up, that is developing designs for social sustainability. It is important that we begin designing socially sustainable designs for social agencies, social policies, and social laws now. Because during the time of recovery, you and I and everybody else who remains here will have a choice. Are we going to duplicate the old paradigm in politics, economics, power control, and authority? I don't think so. And do you think there's a chance of fixing the old problems? Not a chance. They're too big. You see it now that our society is unable to heal or fix or repair the problems that we have. In other words, we must create solutions. And if we're going to create solutions, then they must be socially sustainably designed and built and in place from your community on up. Begin now. I'll be glad to help you. The references and contact information are at the end of this lesson. Thank you.